My little sister called me a parasite for moving back home after college, so I cut off the host. When I was 19, I started a lawn care business to pay for college. Nothing fancy, just me, a beat-up truck, and a borrowed mower. By senior year, I had 12 regular clients pulling in around $2,000 a month. My little sister Lily was 14 when she started begging to help during summers. Please let me work with you. All my friends make minimum wage at Target, but you're making actual money. So I started bringing her along, paying her $200 a week for being my assistant. She'd water flower beds, organize tools, and keep me company. Those were some of my favorite memories. Jamming to music between houses, splitting gas station snacks, her telling me about high school drama. Clients loved her too. Mrs. Carter even requested Lily specifically for her prize roses. I was proud watching her develop work ethic and people skills. Fast forward 3 years. I graduated and moved back home temporarily while transitioning into full landscaping. I had contracts lined up, equipment financing approved. This was my launch pad into real entrepreneurship. That's when Lily's attitude flipped. Great, the college graduate is back living like a teenager, she'd announced to her friends. 4 years of college just to end up cutting grass in mommy's basement. It escalated quickly. She started posting TikToks calling me a failure who couldn't make it in the real world, while showing off luxury hauls, designer makeup, expensive clothes, AirPods Pro, all funded by money I'd been paying her. My brother thinks he's some big entrepreneur, she'd say online, but he's literally still living at home like a child. The comments were brutal. Your brother sounds like a loser, and why don't your parents kick him out? Meanwhile, I was working 12-hour days building the business, but according to Lily's social media, I was just a basement-dwelling failure. The breaking point came at our family barbecue. I was networking with my dad's co-worker Jason, who owned 3 office complexes downtown. We were discussing a potential commercial landscaping contract, $50,000 annually. Your operation sounds impressive, Jason was saying. I've been looking for someone reliable for both maintenance and seasonal plantings. That's when Lily walked over with her signature smirk. Oh, you're talking to my brother? Fair warning, he's kind of a parasite. Still lives at home, can't support himself, always asking my parents for money. I watched Jason's expression change. The professional interest died, replaced by awkward politeness. Well, maybe we can discuss this another time, he said, making a quick excuse to leave. $50,000. Gone. That Monday, Lily texted her usual. Can you pick me up from school and can I work this week? I need $400 for homecoming dress shopping. I stared at that text, remembering Jason walking away, remembering the TikTok's comments calling me a failure, remembering every snide comment while she spent my money. I replied, find your own ride, find your own job. 3 years of easy money just ended. My phone started buzzing, call after call, which I ignored. Then texts. Wait, what do you mean? Are you serious? I was just joking around. You can't fire me. I'm your sister. Finally, she called, crying. But I need this job. I already promised my friends I'd cover homecoming expenses. Maybe you should have thought about that before calling me a parasite, I said. Parasites don't deserve host benefits. That evening, Lily came to my room with puffy eyes. Look, I'm sorry about Dad's friend. I didn't know it was important. It wasn't just Jason. It's been months of you trashing me online, calling me a failure, telling everyone I'm a loser, all while spending money I earned and shared with you. But I didn't mean it. It's just social media stuff. It felt real when I lost a $50,000 contract. She stared. That guy was actually going to give you $50,000? Annual contract. But why would he hire someone his sister calls a parasite? For the first time, I saw genuine regret, but it was too late. Lily spent that summer at Target for $12 an hour. 6 months later, my company landed 3 major contracts, including one with Jason's competitor for $60,000 annually. Sometimes the best business decision is cutting off dead weight, even family.
What's the funniest thing a kid ever said to you? So my sister's 5-year-old daughter, Lily, has been going through this phase where she repeats everything she hears. And I mean everything. My sister calls it her parrot phase, but it's more like a tiny human voice recorder with 0 filter. Last month, I was babysitting Lily while my sister and her husband had a date night. I'd just broken up with my boyfriend of 2 years, and I was kinda down about it. But you know, you put on a brave face for the kids. We were coloring at the kitchen table when my best friend Rachel called. Lily was super focused on her drawing, so I figured I could vent a little. Big mistake. I told Rachel how my ex had this weird habit of singing in the shower. Not normal singing, but full-on opera. It sounded like a dying whale, I whispered. And don't get me started on how he chewed with his mouth open. Lily looked up for a second, then went right back to coloring. I thought I was in the clear. The next morning, my sister texted me, "What exactly did you teach my daughter yesterday?" My stomach instantly dropped. I called her right away. Apparently, Lily's preschool has this thing called family circle time, where kids share what they did over the weekend. When it was Lily's turn, she stood up, put her little hands on her hips, and announced to the entire class, "My auntie says my mommy's boyfriend sings like a dying whale in the shower." I almost choked. First off, she mixed up who I was talking about. Second, my sister's husband doesn't even sing in the shower, but it gets worse. The teacher, trying to save the situation, said, "Don't you mean your daddy, sweetie?" And Lily, with all the confidence in the world, replied, "No, mommy's boyfriend. Auntie says mommy has a boyfriend and a husband." My sister said the room went dead silent. 20 parents stared at her. The teacher's eyes got huge, and my sister just sat there, mouth hanging open, while Lily continued, "And he chews with his mouth open," which is very rude. My sister had to explain to the teacher, the classroom parent helper, and later to her husband that no, she wasn't having an affair, and yes, her daughter had an overactive imagination. When I apologized for the millionth time, my sister just laughed and said, "Well, at least we know she's listening to everything we say." I thought that was the end of it, until Thanksgiving dinner at my parents' house. My elderly grandma asked Lily what she wanted to be when she grows up. Lily smiled sweetly and said, "I want to be like Auntie. She says she's living her best life now that she got rid of her emotional baggage." My dad spit out his wine. My mom dropped the gravy boat, and my grandma, bless her heart, patted my hand and said, "Good for you, dear. Men are overrated anyway." Now I have to submit all my conversations for 5-year-old approval. And my sister made me a little swear jar, except it's not for swear words. It's for anything I don't want repeated at preschool. I'm pretty sure I've funded Lily's future college education by now. Oh, and the funniest part, last week at the grocery store, Lily tugged on my sleeve while we were in the checkout line, pointed at the cashier cashier and asked, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Auntie, is he emotional baggage too, or is he a keeper?" I haven't been back to that store since, but I did get the cashier's number. How did your first child behave after you'd had your second baby? My son Jake was 5 when we brought home his baby sister Emma. He'd been so excited during my pregnancy, talking to my belly, helping set up the nursery, the whole thing. The first day home, Jake wouldn't even look at her, just sat on the couch with his tablet, volume turned all the way up. My husband thought it was normal adjustment. By day 3, Jake started calling Emma it. Not she, not the baby, just it. Can you put it in another room? It's too loud. When does it go back to the hospital? I found Jake's favorite stuffed penguin, the one he'd slept with since he was 2, tucked into Emma's bassinet. That night, I heard him whispering through the baby monitor, "I gave you Penny. Now you have to go." The next morning, Jake was suddenly super helpful. "Can I hold the baby? Can I help with the diaper?" The complete turnaround made me nervous instead of relieved. My mom came over to help and brought Jake a present, a Big Brother t-shirt. He refused to wear it, threw it in the trash when he thought no one was looking. I fished it out later and found he'd scribbled all over it with black marker. Jake started having accidents, something he hadn't done since he was 3. His kindergarten teacher called. He told his whole class that his parents brought home the wrong baby. "My real sister is still at the hospital," he insisted. One evening during bath time, Jake walked in and just stood there staring at Emma in the water. "If she goes underwater, how long until she stops moving?" he asked in this flat voice I'd never heard before. I nearly dropped her. We started therapy the next day. The psychologist explained that Jake felt replaced, that we needed to give him special time. So we tried. Jake got to pick dinner, movies, weekend activities, but nothing changed. I found Jake in Emma's room one night, standing by her crib, just watching her sleep. "What are you doing, buddy?" I asked. "Waiting," he said. "For what?" "For her to disappear." I was brushing my teeth when I heard a crash from the nursery. I ran in to find Jake had pulled Emma's crib mobile down, the one with the little stars and moons. He was attempting to climb into her crib. "I need to show her something," he said, clutching an iPad. On the screen was a video of our family, from before Emma. Happy, smiling, just the 3 of us at the beach. I want to show her what it was like before she ruined everything. That night, I cried to my husband. What if he never accepts her? What if he always hates her? I sobbed. We didn't realize Jake was listening from the hallway. The next morning, Jake wasn't in his bed. Panic hit me like a truck. I rushed to Emma's room, terrified of what I might find. Jake was sitting on the floor next to her crib, his blanket spread out with his toy cars arranged in a circle. In the middle was Emma, who he'd somehow gotten out of her crib. She was happily kicking her legs. "She likes my cars," he whispered. "I'm showing her how to play with them. She's not so bad, I guess." I slid down the wall, relief washing over me. At dinner that night, Jake asked if he could feed Emma her bottle. With supervision, he did great. "She has your eyes, Mom," he said, studying her face. "And Dad's nose." He paused. "But she's definitely got my smile." 3 years later, those two are inseparable. Yesterday, Jake's teacher told me he got in trouble for punching a kid who said his sister was annoying. "Nobody talks about Emma like that," he told me. "Nobody except me." Turns out, sometimes the most protective siblings are the ones who struggled the most at first. They just needed time to realize that love isn't divided between children. It multiplies. What about your kids? Did your older one struggle with the new baby? Or was it love at first sight?